What's up, future fighters? This is the Buddyfight News Corner, making another deck profile. It's time for 5th Omnis. Buddy's gone. It's a dinosaur.
SP flag.
SP flag.
Not the expensive one, the cheap one.
We're cheap like that.
SP flag. It's the thought that counts.
Yeah. Boomerang. There's just 3 boomerangs. Size 0, 2/1/2. After it swings, it bounces back to your hand. It's a free monster. It just keeps swinging every turn. It never goes away.
It's the Gal Formation 2.0.
Please don't ever do that again.
But I miss Faruko.
Oh my god.
Carolyn.
You just call it to the center, swing with it, and it comes back to your hand. If you see more copies of it, you just charge it. Forward to Buddy. Gon's ability is you can counteract, take a damage, and it either gets an extra crit or 3k power. And even if you have the Ablaze Fist out, you're still paying the cost, so you're still either going to get the crit or 3k power. Which is really nice, because you either get a 3k beater was free, or a 7k attacker on a size 1, which is also free.
I don't really see many size 1s with 7k.
You don't. We might not have a secret flag, but we got 2 SPs. Yeah, the Drum Bunker Dragon SD. What is his ability called? Go tomorrow?
Go into tomorrow?
Go towards tomorrow. You can pay a gauge when another drum enters your field. You can either call it to the field or put this drum into the soul of the drum you called. So you can either bump up the soul of whatever drum you called, or you can use it to get another free size 1.
Not free, but one that's not from hand.
It's a free card. It's a gauge for a card. It's pretty good.
You're right.
It's pretty good.
You're right.
It's also a 3/2/1, so 3k is still okay. And because you're going to keep calling it over and over again, if it dies, you don't really care.
1k is irrelevant.
Pretty much. And then, I don't even...
Leaping Zakura?
There you go. He's going to pronounce things if I can't. When it enters the field, you can search your deck for a 5th Omni Dragon Lord drum, and if you added 1 to your hand, you take a damage. It's got piss poor stats, 1/2/1. But it searches out a drum, which is what you need it to do. Most of the time, you're going to play this, search out a drum, and then call this over top of it because it's got more power.
You're right.
Unless you don't need to, because, if you don't have to beat over anything, there's no real point to calling over it. But eventually, it's better just to replace this. Because it's not like your opponent's ever going to beat it off the field. 4 of the 5th Omni Dragon Lord drum. 1 gauge can't be called to the center. That's such a high restriction, though. Not being able to call it to the center.
I mean, he's got Soul Guard. Why he got Soul Guard if he can't call him to the center? Gosh. Bad design, Bushiroad.
Terrible.
Terrible card, 2016.
And then it's anytime you take a damage and your life is 6 or less, you can destroy a monster on your opponent's field. It's really great because you can do it on your turn and your opponent's turn. So you can just board wipe them as they're trying to kill you. And they just stare at their field as it just gets blown up. It also has 3 crit, which is really nice.
3 crit's always nice.
And 6k power, which is also really nice.
But 3 crit's always nice.
3 crit is always nice. This drum is not as good as the other one, but it's still pretty decent. It's the same stats, except it's only got 2 crit instead of 3. Same call cost, 1 gauge, but instead of blowing up a monster, every time you take a damage, you gain a life. Which is really good against, rush heavy decks, because you're always going to reduce the damage they can deal to you by 1. So if they have just enough to kill you, they're not killing you that turn.
You thought you were killing me?
Sadly, it only activates once per turn, but, it's still a free life. And even if you use it with one of your spells, you're still gaining life. Two Kaiser Drums. Kaiser Drum is still a really good card. 2 gauge called over top of any other drum. And at the start of your attack phase, blow up a card on the field. Don't use this card to blow up monsters. It's not worth. Just blow up the items, blow up the set spells. Just don't blow up the monsters.
He's not as broken as everybody said, but he's still
pretty
a
good.
good card.
And then, anytime your life would reach 0, you can pitch a soul from him, and your life becomes 1. Essentially making your opponent unable to impact you while he has soul.
Not dying confirmed good.
Not dying is very good. It's also a 10-3-5, which is pretty ridiculous.
It hits over almost everything.
It hits Omni die by itself.
The only thing it doesn't hit is that giant Legend World snake. But at that point, you just blow it up.
3 of the Drum Fist, Oblaze. It's a 3-2, so it's not that good stats.
Until you get a drum out.
When you get a drum out. The equip cost is pay a gauge and you take a damage. Again, you're taking damage for your item equips, so you still get off your effects. And then, if you have a drum on your field, it gets +3 power and penetrate. Which makes it a 6-2 with penetrate.
Which is pretty good.
That's pretty dumb, considering your opponent has to... if they move, you can just penetrate it. And if they don't move, you can still blow up all their monsters. And they have a bad time. And for the most broken item in 5th Omni is the Emperor Fang. Same equip cost as the Oblaze, except anytime you take a damage, you gain a life. And it's got 3 crit.
So it does exactly what a Blaze does, but all your effects go off since it doesn't reduce the damage to 0.
Sadly, it's only once per turn, but that's still 1 free effect per turn.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 Lords, because you want to be able to get off your drum effects during your opponent's turn.
Shield one attack, blow up the other one.
Very good. Especially since they can't null it, so if they link attack you, you just laugh at them. And then the mandatory 4 greens, because it's a green shield. You use it and you gain a life.
It's so mandatory that every trial deck comes with it.
Sad but true. And the reason why we can play all these gauge cards, Blue Dragon Shield. Same as green, except you get a gauge.
Still mandatory because Blue Shield is good.
Except not in every trial deck. Bushy, why? And yeah, this makes really good gauge excel and allows you to use Kaiser Drum, which is 2 gauge. The other gauge ramping card, Drago Wisdom. You take a damage, which that's what you want to do for the deck to function anyway, so call cost is good. And you have to have a 5th Omni on your field. I'm pretty sure we have enough 5th Omnis to make that work. And then you put the top card of your deck into your gauge and you draw a card. Very good gauge excel. And it essentially is a
Dragon Emperor
Legends when you have this and the Awakened Drum and the Emperor Fang on the field. Which is really nice. And more ways to screw with your opponent. Drago Desperate. Pay gauge.
Why not have a Dragon World? Rest everything.
Pretty much. Pay gauge and take a damage. Which again, you're getting off all your effects. And you counter rest a size 2 or less, or an item.
Excuse me, outside barbed wire, your size 2.
Pretty much. They got a double attacker, you just rest it. They have a size 1 that has lots of crit, rest it.
Oh, Kaiseron, rest it.
Yeah. Danger World? Alright, let me rest it. Hope you don't have a demon, though. And most of the time, the take a damage part is kind of irrelevant, because all of your items make it kind of free. You're either paying only 1 gauge, or 1 gauge, and you get off your effects for free.
Or on the off chance that you don't have a weapon, you pay 1 gauge and 1 life to stop a 3 crit attack. I like that.
Pretty much. And then 3 of the other OP Gout Impact.
Worst designed card in the game.
Very bad design. You have to have an item equipped and either a card with drum in its name or your buddy on your field. And when both you and your opponent's centers are open, you choose your item and a monster in your field and deal damage equal to your opponent. And they can't nullify it. So there's all the 3 crit drums and 3 crit monsters in the deck with the 3 crit thing. You can deal 5 to 6 damage very easily. The lowest this thing will do is 4, so it's a better Gargantua. At most it deals 6, which is stupidly OP.
Excuse me as I ping you for one, and if you paid life for any of your effects, you're dead.
Yeah.
It'll hit you once with drum and then impact you for game. Rip you.
Pretty much, and even if they do anything to your item, you don't really care because they still have to deal with the drums and all of your shields, since you're playing 12 shields.
Not dying, not dying,
If
not
you
dying.
shouldn't die. You might run out of hand with the deck, but you don't really care because as soon as you top deck a drum, you're going to have that drum in another size 1. Yeah, that's 5th Omnis.
Drum Omnis.
It's pretty much drum Omnis. There's lots of damage you can deal with this day, and you should rarely ever get close to them being able to impact you because of all of your shields. And even if they do, you have the Drago Desperate that can just rest their shit, even if they get close to killing you. Yeah, I think that's it.
Like, comment, subscribe for more.
Broken drums!